Hey, welcome to Screenplay Junkie. My name's Drew Hellmich, and I love screenwriting and everything there is about movies. But before anything makes it to the screen, it always begins with text on paper. So if you're a fellow addict of film and storytelling, join my brothers, Matt and Bryan, and I as we take a look at various types of screenplays, short stories, and other source material that were crucial to the creation of the stories we all love. There will be spoilers, though, so I do recommend being familiar with the title that's being discussed. Sound good? All right, then let's get started. Welcome back, fellow story addicts, to Screenplay Junkie, episode 46. Drew, Matt, and Bryan here in a room.
Oh, hi, Drew.
Oh, hi. Drew,
Oh,
Matt.
hi. Hi, guys.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Oh, no.
I mean, we just said oh, hi as many times, I think, as they say it in the movie. I looked it up. Like, the characters say oh, hi or oh, hey, like 12 to 14 times.
It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of highs going around the room.
And a lot of mentions that Mark and Johnny are best friends.
Yes.
I think that one's like 8 times in the script.
Yes.
Yeah. And that Lisa is his future wife.
Oh, yeah. We have a masterpiece. Well, I just said masterpiece weird, but we have a masterpiece here, guys.
In our
The
hands. In the room, correct?
Room. The Room.
The Room.
Cult classic movie.
Yeah. Apparently, it's one of the greatest bad movies ever made.
Yeah, and there's just so much lore surrounding this movie about how it was made and just every little thing that went into it. It's utterly hilarious. And, I mean, we have here, like, The Disaster Artist, right?
James
That's a
Franco,
movie-
Seth Rogen, that was like based off of Tommy Wiseau. That's who the director and writer of the film is.
Have any of us seen the movie?
No.
I've not seen it.
I want to see it now, like, absolutely. Because the movie, basically, I think, is just about how the movie was made. Like, you get to see scenes of on-set stuff, Tommy's interactions with people. And apparently Tommy Wiseau is in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's some
He
sort of a
he has like
cameo?
a cameo.
Oh,
cameo
nice.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a biographical movie. But The Room, have you ever seen this movie before? Or was this your first viewing?
No, I've heard of it.
You've heard of it, though?
I
feel
never,
like-
the Disaster Artist, like, taught me about The Room.
Okay.
You know, I never knew nothing beforehand.
Exactly. I was just about to say, like, I think most people now know about this movie only because of James Franco. But,
True.
hey, why not?
Yeah, I know. I had heard of this movie, but I never got around to seeing it, and I heard that it was just so infamously terrible. But when I did watch it, I didn't expect, like, going into it, like, how bad it was going to be, right?
No.
Because this thing has, like, a cult following, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. I was, like, doing some research, and it said, like, they do showings in, like, theaters, and people are lined up and out the doors and everything.
Oh, yeah. And Tommy Wiseau even shows
to
up to
have that
some
full
of them.
experience.
He does, like, Q&As after.
Yeah.
I feel like this would be, like, a fun movie to watch with a group of people, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hilarious. Like, you can make a drinking game out of it, like
Yeah.
you were saying, Drew.
I'm sure there's
When
one
we
that already
watched it.
exists,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, you laugh your ass off, and it's not intended for you to do that in any way. This is supposed to be dramatic.
Yes.
And it's just utterly hilarious.
Yeah, it didn't hit on the dramatic platform
It's
at all.
so awkward. Like, every
Yes,
interaction.
extremely awkward.
Like, in some of the reviews I read, people describe this movie as extraterrestrial. Like, as if an alien came to Earth and tried to make a movie about, like, humans without understanding humankind.
It's so true, though, because it's the interactions between, like, each person. You're just like, they've seen like they've never done this before.
Yeah.
I know.
It's so, yeah, it's very
It's
weird.
like they've never had a conversation.
Exactly.
I mean, Drew, you brought up the fact that the guy who wrote and directed it, right, Tommy Wiseau, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes.
He's not from America, and English is not his
No.
first language.
No.
So that's like maybe a reason why the dialogue is so
Yeah.
wonky.
It has to be, yeah. We'll get to that, though. We'll get to his background and some other notes about filmmaking. At least English filmmaking when you have a different language. But let's talk about the IMDb info about this one, shall we?
Let's do it.
So you know what to do,
Inform us,
Matt.
please.
All right, so The Room came out in 2003, March 3rd, apparently. It's got a 3.7 out of 10 on the International Movie
Okay, I think that's
Database.
actually better than Baby Geniuses
Or Internet
Baby
Movie
Geniuses 2. That may still hold the
Yeah.
lowest star rating on IMDb.
There's
ever.
absolutely movies with worse ratings. On
There
this
are,
website.
okay,
yeah.
There are,
okay.
which is hard to believe. All right, I'll go ahead and read the log line. Johnny is a successful banker who lives happily in a San Francisco townhouse with his fiancée, Lisa. One day, inexplicably, she gets bored with him and decides to seduce his best friend, Mark. From there, nothing will be the same again.
And you won't either after seeing it.
Exactly. I had no idea he was a banker until now. That he was supposed to be a banker in the movie.
They like reference his job, and then he just like flips the conversation in the movie to just his like friend's sex life. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, "Don't ask me about work. How's your sex life?"
Yeah.
It's just
I do
so
remember
awkward. So awkward.
Very scatterbrained, for sure.
And this movie is directed by Tommy Wiseau, or Wiseau, written by him, and stars him. He went just full look at me with this movie.
Exactly.
But he did pay for all of it himself.
Wow.
He did?
This movie cost $6 million to make.
Whoa.
And it looks like they made it on like a, I don't know, like a camera from like 1990.
Yeah, it doesn't look like $6 million. And
It's
I mean,
so amateur.
it's
$6 million in a set.
I mean, here's the thing. It's great that he got to make the movie, but with the $6 million budget, I mean, there are other movies out there that have a lower budget that are amazing.
Oh my gosh, by far. I mean, we just did Upgrade, and that was made for less money.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Today,
Yeah.
it was made today in this current climate. 2018, it was made for $5 million.
Yeah.
This was made in 2003 for $6 million.
Yes,
not buying
exactly.
it.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Tommy, I think he was like in his late 40s when they filmed this.
Yeah.
And the girl who plays Lisa was 20.
Oh, my God.
Great.
And,
Okay, perfect.
Her name was Juliette Danielle. And then Greg Sestero is the guy who plays Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. You hear that a lot.
That is Mark, yes. The movie grossed in the USA just over $500K. But worldwide, it's at $5.6 million. So it's
getting there.
Okay,
It's
okay.
near breaking even.
Yeah.
He's in it for the long haul.
That's
okay?
good. That's good to hear. It's good to hear.
It is good to hear he's making some of his money back potentially. Or I mean, all of that money though, this 5.6 mil could just be to the distributors of the movie.
Yeah,
We
maybe, I
don't know if he's really getting
Yeah.
any of it. You looked up his net worth, Brian. What was it?
500,000.
I mean, those aren't
Okay.
Those aren't totally accurate, but I believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
He's got more money than me. All right, you guys want to do the trivia?
Yeah.
All right, so for the start of this, I want to give credit to a guy named Sandy Schklair, okay?
Sandy.
Because the movie The Room owes what coherence it does to this guy. He was an uncredited script supervisor. So apparently he went in there and made this dialogue less shitty.
Oh man.
Because
He's tried
originally,
to.
I mean, people on set like have stories about reading the script originally and just going like, what? Like,
I'm sure.
who would say this? Who would
Yeah,
talk like this?
Right. Sounds like I mean, he doesn't sound like he did much though. But
Yeah, well, that's because Tommy was
Was
so
just like,
controlling
no, yeah,
nature.
yes.
Like, he would berate people on set, publicly humiliate the actors and crew members on set.
Really?
And he would arrive hours late to filming and just, he was the greatest obstacle in the making of this movie.
Okay.
But he was the guy paying for all of it, so everyone wanted their checks at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
That's why people
I
stuck
guess
around.
that agrees.
Yeah.
The movie basically had an endless budget. There was no set budget when Tommy started, and it just
Wow.
grew to $6 million. He had a really large film crew of about 30 experienced professionals. Right,
Holy
these were
shit.
legit people in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But nearly all of them walked off because they were so frustrated and just couldn't
working
handle
with,
them.
with working with him. Yeah.
I still can't wrap my head around how he spent $6 million on this. Like, I still don't know what you need to spend that much money.
Just equipment. I mean,
I feel like he just
Well,
tried to spend that much money.
If you were making a movie, you would rent equipment, right?
yeah. So he bought it.
He bought it all.
Yeah.
He's just, it was just bad decision after bad decision, and there was no studio involved, and that's why this movie came out the way it did, because it was completely the creation of Tommy Wiseau.
I mean, I'll say I think the best part about the movie is just like the way it looks. Like the cinematography is not horrible. It looks
It's bad.
it
but
looks
it's,
coherent
like
at least.
if the dialogue was decent, like I could sit through that. Like it wasn't
Possibly,
horribly
possibly, yes.
low budget at all.
No.
The film it employed 400 people
Wow. Really?
in total, not all at one time, but there were 400 people that were a part of it at one point.
Holy shit.
Dude, that's that's like a small business.
It's like a small village. It's insane.
Yeah, village. Not even that's a big
lot of
business.
I
people.
think when you have
budget.
over like 100 employees, you have to like provide health insurance to them or something. Oh, it's This guy, man. This guy, Tommy Wiseau, the legend. Hold on, the legend's just going to keep growing as I go through this. This is going to take some time, this trivia, but it's worth it.
I'm excited to learn about this here.
According to Greg Sestero, the guy who played Mark, Tommy submitted the film to Paramount, hoping to get them as the distributor, and it usually takes 2 weeks to get a reply from Paramount. They responded within 24 hours with a no. They probably watched like the first minute and were just like, no.
Oh, man.
The movie was shot simultaneously on 2 cameras.
2 different cameras?
Yes.
Okay.
One was 35 millimeter and the other one was high def. And that's because Tommy was confused about the differences, so he just bought both.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
A billboard for this movie was erected on Highland Avenue in L.A., where it stayed there for 5 years. It cost him over a few $1,000s a week to keep that up.
Jeez,
Dude,
really
where was he getting this money, though? Do we know?
Wow.
I have it.
Okay.
I have it.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to get there when we get out of trivia. We're going to talk more about Tommy. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
I just want everyone to hear the lore of this guy before we really dig into who he is.
Yeah.
According to Juliette Daniels, the girl who played his wife, when Tommy Wiseau said the line, "In a few minutes, bitch," when he was in the bathroom and he was like hiding from her, everyone on the set just burst out laughing. Just because of his accent.
Yeah.
And he runs out of the bathroom pissed off. He's like, "Why are you all laughing at me?" Oh, man. And speaking of bathrooms, apparently Tommy Wiseau had his own private bathroom built on set. And he refused to pay for air conditioning or to allow cast members to have water bottles during filming. And one set member or cast member actually passed out from that. So he was like a dictator with his own bathroom, and just like everyone else had nothing.
Every shot call was by him. Yeah, that's what.
Good employer.
It's no wonder why people quit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm. This is just mesmerizing. Okay, imagine if this was in the script, Drew. This was not in what you read, but according to Greg Sestero, Tommy Wiseau intended for this film to contain a subplot in which Johnny, his character, was revealed to be a vampire.
That doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, like just in the entire storyline, like that's a curveball that has no materialistic like connection at all to the story at all.
He only wanted to put it in there just because he liked vampires himself. Like, I mean, he kind of looks like one. I'll give him that.
He looks like Skrillex.
He's just like, I'm not going to listen to like any what they've done in the past. I'm going to do it my way because this is the way I want to do it, and it's going to look the best. And it, of course, didn't.
Well, why didn't he just make a vampire movie then?
Exactly.
But now that you mention that, I remember a scene in the script because in the movie, right, there's this like thug who puts a gun up to Billy, that Billy character's head, right?
Where's my money?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
what kind of money?
So in the script, there's a part where they go to like this guy's funeral, the thug's funeral for whatever reason, and one of the characters mentions like, "Oh, like why? What happened to all the blood in his body? Where did it all go?" So now that you're mentioning that he wanted to have some sort of vampire included in the script,
And the only reason
it's like what?
The only reason the subplot of the vampire was dropped is because Tommy had in the script a scene where he, like the vampire would make a car fly.
Dude, that's right.
And they just couldn't figure out a way to practically film it. Like it wasn't possible in his budget, so they had to drop it.
I
was pissed.
in my notes I read that scene and I literally wrote in caps WTF question mark. Like what is it? I don't even want to talk about it because it was ridiculous. Now that because I was like, is this car flying? Is this actually happening? And now that you mention it, that's what I read.
He wanted him to be a vampire who can make cars fly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That does not make any sense, dude. That probably would have made this movie way more entertaining and interesting on like just a absolutely ridiculous level.
I would have loved to have seen it. Flying car with Tommy. He's like, "Oh, hi, I'm a vampire."
In daylight? In daylight.
In the day, he could walk in daylight. He's a daywalker. All right, let's just move on from this vampire shit.
Yeah, please.
So there's 7 mentions of Johnny and Mark being best friends. They're best friends. If you didn't catch that, 7 times, 7 fucking times. You remember Peter, the guy who's like the psychologist?
Yeah, I'm a psychologist.
Well, first of all, his character magically disappears at the end of the movie.
Right.
And they gave his lines to just this other random guy.
Yes, they did.
So that's why that happens. That confused the hell out of me when I saw the movie. Just a random friend that appears without a name.
Well, because usually when they enter a room, they're like, "Oh, hi, Billy. Oh, hi, Denny."
They did it like 4 times in a row, yeah.
"Oh, hi, Claudette."
I mean, it's spoken 16 times.
Wow.
The Ohighs.
All right.
But back to this Peter guy, the psychologist. He seems dazed and confused kind of in a few scenes that he's in, and it's because he got a concussion on the set, and Tommy would not let him leave to go to the hospital. He made him finish filming for the day after he just got a concussion.
Nice. Good work environment.
And the guy did it because he wanted the money.
Workers' comp.
Wow. Unreal. So Mark, right? Johnny's best friend.
Yes.
His name is Mark in this movie because he's actually supposed to be named after Matt Damon, but Tommy Wiseau misheard the actor's name, even though he has like an obsession with him. So he thinks his name is Mark Damon, not Matt Damon.
What?
Yeah, that's the truth, according to Greg Sestero.
I don't get it. I don't understand at all.
Like, this guy's, I think he's just more foreign than he tries to put out. I don't know. I mean, he's bizarre. He's utterly bizarre.
Yeah, he's definitely
interestingly bizarre. He's got so much about him.
Yeah, he's like the Great Gatsby.
Obscure,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he's like
Jay Gatsby.
Jay Gatsby.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's just like
no
one really knows about him. He's
super
just
eccentric.
Yeah, he's a
wow.
character. So we talked about this when we watched the movie. There's 10 minutes of sex in this movie. 10 minutes of sex scenes, and oh boy, did they drag!
Yes, they do.
They just go on and on and on.
Yeah, they do.
It's hilarious.
And just like with the, you could tell the post audio that they would drop in of sex noises and moanings, and it's just geez, the cringy that you would just sit there while listening.
Yeah, it was unbearable.
So cringeworthy. And apparently, after they filmed the first one, the one that went on forever in the first 10 minutes of the movie, Tommy Wiseau decided to write in a second love scene, but the girl, Juliette Danielle, who plays Lisa, she was uncomfortable with the idea, partially probably because she was almost 30 years younger than him.
Yeah.
So they made a compromise, and that second love scene between them that you see in the movie,
yeah,
it was created from unused shots from the first scene.
That's what I thought it looked like. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. While we're here talking about this, I want to talk about it in the script because we watched this movie first and then read it, and I was interested to see how he handled these sex scenes in the script. Well, there isn't any sort of crazy description involved. All it says is just after character and character do the sex. That's it. It's just they do the sex.
They do the sex.
Yeah, that's all they say.
Doing the sex.
But doing sex.
So you're telling me that doing the sex, one line in a script, evolved into 10 minutes worth.
Yeah, and he wanted it to be more, and he was pushing more.
Oh, wow.
So this girl, Juliette Danielle, right, that played his wife, who she had to endure these long sex scenes with him or whatever.
Yeah.
He made her cry on set because she showed up one day with a few pimples, and he was telling her she's ugly and not worthy, and she started crying. Yeah, and he also yelled at crew members if they farted on set. Just if you disturbed anything, he would yell at you.
Dude, now that you're saying this stuff, whether true, not true, whatever the case is, I was feeling bad for this guy. Watching this movie, I was feeling bad for him because it's just not a good movie, and I was looking at his background and empathizing with him a little bit. But now that you're telling these stories, it kind of makes me not like him anymore, not care about that.
Everything I've seen, I don't know what that was, but everything I've seen, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah, it clearly sounds like it.
I mean, listen to this. He was so pleased with the sex scene footage, right, that he wanted all of it in the film. So that first one, I think it comes out to 3 minutes. He wanted it to be all 7 minutes of what he had. And the actress, Juliette Danielle, again, who plays Lisa, she was shocked. She had no idea they were going to be that lengthy. She just thought they were going to be a couple seconds, moving on, get the movie back on track. And she was shocked when she saw the premiere. Like I said, 10 minutes of sex scenes, that's 10% of the movie. 10%.
Nice.
Wasted.
Nice.
Yeah, we can't get those minutes back. We'll never get them back, guys.
We'll never get that hour and a half back of the full
length. All good.
Of the full length film.
It's all right.
Here's a question that got brought up. Why is everyone playing football in tuxedos and standing only 3 feet apart all the time? Right? What is up with the football tossing?
I don't know.
I think he just thought it was American. He's like, I'll just work this in.
That's what he probably just stuck in a lot of American type innuendos and activities, things that Americans typically like to do. So
he's quoted saying that football is fun and playing it without protective gear is a challenge.
I would say so. I would agree with that.
You got to have your helmet. You need your shoulder pads, all that protective gear. It's hard without it, according to Tommy. So, did you guys think a lot of the dialogue sometimes for him sounded dubbed in?
Yes.
Because that's because it was, all right? Like, a lot of his lines, right, they're dubbed in, they're out of sync. And it's just because mostly he was unable to memorize his lines on the set.
And he wrote the script.
Yeah, but he couldn't memorize his lines.
Come on, dude. Come on. Come on.
That's hilarious.
Could you imagine him like being in like 7th grade trying to deliver like a speech in front of class? He failed that.
No,
Totally.
I mean, he can berate other people, but he can't. No one can give it back to
Can't
him.
memorize his own stuff. So, while filming those really ridiculous establishing shots, right, for like the beginning of the film,
Yes.
that was in San Francisco, where the movie takes place, and Tommy Wiseau got into an argument with a police officer who asked to see their permit, which of course they didn't get. And after a few minutes of arguing, the crew had to pack up all their gear and they had to like flee before like reinforcements showed up to like arrest them.
Hell yeah.
Holy shit. This guy's just going through everything.
I mean, those shots were pretty impressive. I'll give him that. Like, they were pretty beautiful.
I thought he just inserted stock footage.
That's what it looked like, but apparently he filmed like a decent amount of those.
All right.
I guess that's what got that budget up, right? $6 million.
Word.
Post-release, Tommy Wiseau claims that this film was always meant to be a comedy full of "it's so bad it's good" elements. The rest of the cast, like the people who filmed it with him, they know that's bullshit.
Total.
He was dead serious, and it just turned out to be like funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, he submitted it to Paramount.
Yeah.
Come on.
And they told him no within 24 hours.
Yes.
He also paid to keep this movie open in theaters for over 2 weeks because the Oscars requires your film run for 2 weeks to be eligible.
Okay.
Of course, it wasn't nominated for anything
No.
involved with the Oscars.
No.
This guy is a loser, man. He thinks he's so like...
He's a lunatic. Like, honestly,
he totally is.
I mean, hey, I'm all about going after the American dream, but like this guy is absurd.
It just sounds like he's not grasping reality.
Yeah, truth.
He
It's
just
weird. Yeah.
He jumped all into making a movie with literally no idea what he was doing. And yeah, we kind of already talked about this, but this movie, after its release, it became a popular midnight movie where people would go, drink, hang out, watch the movie as a group. And like I said, he would attend a lot of those screenings, still does, and he does Q&As with the audience.
Okay. Interactive guy. Loves the fans.
He's got a fan base, yeah.
Yeah, and the fans show up, they toss the football around. It says they throw plastic spoons at the screen. I don't know why. And they also dress up as the characters. So it's like a cosplay thing. All right, that's all I got. That was the lengthy trivia, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah, it is. And we're about to add some more. I know, because this stuff is just so interesting, guys.
We have a little bit of a Tommy Wiseau sound montage that we've collected and put together. So we want to play that for
Some
you.
of the best moments.
All right, sound montage. Let's get it. Let's get it on.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I was working as a busboy in a hotel, and she was sitting, drinking her coffee, and she was so beautiful. And I say hi to her. That's how we met.
You didn't get it, did you?
The son of a bitch told me that I would get it within 3 months. I saved them bundles. They're crazy. I don't think I will ever get it. They betrayed me. They didn't keep their promise. They tricked me, and I don't care anymore. I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Dude, you're just a chicken. Chip, 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 chip.
You can come out now, Johnny. She's gone.
In a few minutes, bitch.
People are very strange these days. I used to know a girl. She had a dozen guys. One of them found out about it, beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street.
What a story, Mark. You are lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa. You know what they say, love is blind.
How was work today?
Oh, pretty good. We got a new client at the bank. We'll make a lot of money.
What client?
I cannot tell you. It's confidential.
Oh, come on. Why not?
No, I can't. Anyway, how is your sex life? It's not over. Everybody betrayed me. I'm fed up with this world. You can love someone deep inside your heart, and there is nothing wrong with it. If a lot of people love each other, the world would be a better place to live.
Wasn't that lovely?
I could listen to that guy's voice all day. I could listen to it all day. You know, when he wrote the script, he told Greg Sestero, the guy who plays Mark, he's like, this dialogue is so good, it'll make people go to sleep. That's a literal quote he said to the guy.
Well, because maybe it's just so boring.
Yeah,
They're not paying attention.
Little did he know that that was ironic what he said.
Yeah.
Although, why would he think it's a good thing to have your dialogue make people want to sleep? For some reason, he thought that was a good thing.
I don't know. Just drift off into some amazing dream world of the Room.
Yeah,
I don't know. But let's talk about Tommy Wiseau, a.k.a. Skrillex, and a.k.a. the Croatian Cyborg, apparently. Who wrote that?
I mean, isn't he like a cyborg, honestly?
They know nothing about him, so yeah, he could be anything.
You know that fight scene he has with Mark? Apparently, he actually like bruised up Mark. That's why he's a cyborg, dude. He's got freak strength.
So let's talk about Tommy Wiseau, and the source is Wikipedia here, people. Got to credit the Wikipedias.
So it's all accurate, 100%.
100% accurate.
No doubt.
Yeah. So many details about Wiseau's personal life, including his age, source of wealth, and background, remain unverified and have all been the subject of intense fan speculation.
Cyborg.
He's a mystery, man. I mean, that just adds to everything. It just makes it better.
Let's talk about his early life. Wiseau is very secretive about his early life, so there are only claims, not fact, about his past.
Again, it's just like,
Cyborg.
who is he? I don't know. He's a robot. He's an alien.
So there's a claim that he used to live in France a long time ago, and he claimed that he also grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and that he was born in 1968 or 1969.
Yeah, and his name used to be Pierre, I think. He changed his name to Tommy when he moved to America, and what I found, too, is that he did live in Louisiana because he left Poland, I think, or France, wherever he was, and he moved in with his aunt and uncle in Louisiana.
Okay.
All right.
And then he moved to San Francisco.
Okay.
And became the best director of all time.
Yep.
But among all this, his friend Greg Sestero, who plays Mark in The Room, claims in his 2013 memoir, The Disaster Artist, that he obtained copies of Wiseau's U.S. immigration papers and found that Wiseau was born much earlier in the mid to late 1950s.
Weird.
So yeah,
just like speculation on this guy and just not knowing where he really came from.
Or how old he is. And like I just said earlier, he was like 40-something when they filmed this movie. 40-something.
He looked it. Yeah.
How old is he today? Like in his 70s then?
Like 60s.
60s? Okay.
Yeah. And then some guy, right after Greg Sestero, some guy named Rick Harper, in his documentary, Room Full of Spoons, claimed to have researched Wiseau's background and concluded that he's from a city in Poland.
That makes sense. The spoons they throw at the screen.
Yeah.
Room full of spoons, probably.
There's probably like spoons in the
inspirational
background of like one of the shots, and that's why.
Yeah. And then for the first time in November 2017, Wiseau confirmed publicly that he originally is from Europe.
Took him a while.
Yeah.
That's pretty recent. 2017 is when he finally admits he's not American born.
Yeah.
It's like, do we even believe that?
Do you know he's still working? Like on his IMDb, he still has credits. Like he's still doing stuff.
Some just really ridiculous
Like voice
movies
acting
still.
I saw, like ridiculous movies. It's pretty funny.
Let's get back to Greg Sestero, though, because Sestero asserts that after Wiseau had lived in Louisiana for some amount of time, he subsequently moved to San Francisco, where he worked many different kinds of jobs. And apparently he was in a near-fatal car crash, and that's what made him pursue his dreams of becoming an actor and director, which were ambitions that he had long neglected while pursuing financial security.
So maybe that's how he made all his money. He like sued someone because he got in a car crash.
Oh, okay.
I mean, from what I found, he also made his money like selling these cheap imported goods. Like he would sell leather jackets imported from like Korea, and he would just make a ton of money, like big profit margin on that.
I mean, but $6 million worth of
that's crazy.
He had a bunch of money, like
Talk
realistically.
about, he's
and he was also in like real estate, so maybe that's how he made his millions as well. I mean, this guy was wealthy. He had a fortune.
Oh, yeah, who are you, Count Olaf? I mean, that's pretty much all we could dig up about him, but I mean, that's a pretty... That is a really interesting
odd history,
background. Very odd, yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a vampire. Let's not count that out. He could be a real-life vampire. He just couldn't make himself a vampire in his movie because he didn't know how to make the car fly.
Yeah.
He didn't learn that spell yet.
This guy's awesome. He's the real international man of mystery, not Austin Powers. This guy is.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the script, which we're not really going to discuss that much.
Yeah, we're not really going any of the plot on this because
Yeah.
you just have to see it for yourself.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it. If you have seen it, all right, you already know what we're talking about here.
I mean,
I think I'd recommend it.
Everyone in the world should watch this movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, 'cause you are not the same afterwards.
It's an experience for sure.
It's hilarious. I mean, yeah, you want it to be over the whole time. Like, you're just waiting for it to end. But once it ends, you wish it wasn't over yet. Because it's hilarious.
Now, this is the part that I was saying earlier where I was saying I was empathizing with Tommy Wiseau because this movie is not good and everyone knows that. So we didn't want to come into this episode just completely making fun of him, making fun of his movie and all that because of his background. But after learning some stories that Matt had said, well, I don't feel as bad for him anymore.
Yeah, so we can make fun of him. That is open.
Let's crumble it.
But still, I would still like to mention, just saying that, I mean, writing a screenplay, making a movie, any creative endeavor for that matter is not easy. We all understand that.
And highly respect it.
Yeah,
to be able to get it done.
Well, just with Tommy Wiseau, the fact that he was originally from Poland, allegedly, and was able to learn the English language, write a script in English, and get a movie produced. I mean, he produced it himself, basically. That in entirety is amazing, and he deserves credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, his goal was to be an actor and to make a movie, and he did it. And to be honest, like, he's achieved fame. Maybe it's infamy. Either way, like, people know his name, and that's a success.
Got a movie made after him.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to put myself in his shoes, just trying to imagine what that would be like to go to another country's film scene or whatever scene you're interested in and learn their language and write a script in that language and then trying to make the movie in that country. That is very difficult to do. I mean, trying to make a movie if you're an American like we are is difficult in itself anyway. So the fact that he was able to do that is unbelievable, and I applaud him for that. So let's talk about the script info. The Room, written by Tommy P., which probably is Pierre Wiseau. There's no exact script date or draft, probably written in the late 90s, and it's 112 pages.
I wonder why he chose Tommy Wiseau as his, like, fake name, because he changed his name to that. Like, what made him want to go with that?
I don't know.
Because Tommy, I get Tommy's, like, super American, but, like, Wiseau, you think he would have went with, like...
I don't know, it seems like French.
Oh, yeah, okay.
From this, like, French background, apparently. I don't know. And then Louisiana, French, kind of has, like, French roots,
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Way to connect the dots there, man. That's pretty good stuff right there.
Pretty good troubleshoot.
Detective.
Troubleshoot. It's a good troubleshoot.
But, I mean, and unbelievably, there are some differences in this screenplay, but we're not going to dwell on them because it's just not worth the time, to say delicately.
I feel like we mentioned the biggest difference.
Yeah, the vampire.
He's a vampire.
Yeah. Which is unbelievable. I still cannot. I still can't believe that. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. But let's start out here with some formatting and just general issues that were found in the script. Okay. So in a traditional screenplay, you have headlines that are called headlines, slug lines, whatever you want to call them, and that's where you put your interior, exterior, and that just allows the reader to understand where a scene is taking place, right? Well, in this screenplay, those do not exist, and every scene is structured somewhat like a play, I would say.
That's what he intended it to be originally.
He was doing, like, acts and scenes.
Yes, exactly. It's like there's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and then under each act, it's structured by just scene 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. So you don't directly read it and say, oh, we're in the house. Oh, we're in a family room. Wherever you are. That's not in there. So automatically, this is formatted wrong.
That's a nice way of saying it.
I think, like, even, like, the opening title, it was just, like, a giant font, and it took up, like, the whole page, and it was just, like, The Room.
Sometimes people do that.
Okay.
You can see some interesting title pages, but I know what you're talking about.
From something I read in an interview, someone asked him, "Why is this movie titled The Room?" And his response,
that's a good question.
Yeah, right, because it really doesn't make any sense. His response was that he wanted the viewers to feel comfortable from the title because a room is a safe place.
That's it?
Yeah, that's his explanation.
I thought it was just like the room, like, because the whole movie basically took place like in their house.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I thought it was just like, the room, like everything. Look at all these events that take place in this room.
Nope, it's because he wants you to feel safe.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty.
I didn't feel safe, but
it's pretty genuine of him.
Would you feel safe in a room with no windows and a locked door?
No escape.
No.
Exactly. So his point is failure. A room doesn't make you feel safe. It depends on the.
You just gave me like anxiety. It's like, hey, you're in a room. There's no windows, and you're locked in. I'm just like, oh shit.
Jeez, man, what's going on here?
How do I get out? I want to leave this room. This room sucks.
All right, back to the script and the movie. We already said this. The characters say they love to say hi to each other and ask each other how they are, how they're doing. They always call each other by their names. They always say what their occupation is. They always say what their relationship is in such an unnatural way, and it happens way too much.
I mean, that's just the dialogue in this movie. It's hilarious. It's like as if an alien wrote it.
Yeah, the audience just gets beat down like with this information that's like, hey, do you remember? Hey, do you remember who this person is? This is their relationship. Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? It's just like, dude, like, we get it. So what's this movie about? We already said the log line, but let's just kind of go over this again. So basically, Tommy Wiseau, and his wife Lisa's relationship. That's what this whole thing is about. One day she gets bored of him. She has an affair with Johnny's best friend Mark, and we get to watch how terrible these characters are to each other in an unrealistic way until Johnny takes his own life, and that's about it.
It's a movie about nothing,
really,
for the most part.
It gets sad when it escalates to that point where Johnny takes himself out. But
it was was sad. Like I was like, he's the main character. He's the star, and he gets killed. It's awful. It's a tragedy.
I just thought it was hilarious how none of these characters like cared. Once people started to figure out that Lisa was having an affair with Mark, nobody had the balls to tell Johnny.
It made no sense.
No, yeah.
Like, everyone just sucked, dude. Like, Lisa was terrible. Mark was terrible. The only person that I kind of liked was Johnny. That was it, but he was an idiot.
Yeah. Who was that other guy? Billy. He just, like, wanted to watch them while they would, like...
Oh, my God. That was so weird.
They're like son, but not son.
Yes.
Who knows who that guy was? He threw the football like an idiot, though.
They hit you with that in, like, the first 5 minutes, like, because... Johnny gets home, right? And then you have, before that super long sex scene, the kid's in the room. And he's like, I like to watch. It's like, get out of my house, you creep.
That's so weird.
And they just reacted so normal to that.
Yeah. They would just laugh. Well, what about the view on women in this story? What did you think about that?
Oh, they're like the ultimate worst, I guess. That's like the best. That's the best way I could put it.
I think Tommy has some lady problems. Like
I would agree with that,
because every woman in this movie is like secondary, right, or like very negative
or manipulative.
Yeah, manipulative, like evil. I honestly like that's his portrayal.
Yeah, like Lisa says something in the movie. It's kind of like just like, oh, what the hell? She's like, you move on with every man, and that's it, or something like that. It's just like
he literally wrote her character to be evil, and like, from what I found, apparently, like, her character is based on an ex-girlfriend that he had in real life that just, like, broke his heart or something.
Yeah.
So he just literally turned that real-life experience into writing this character as just, like, the most evil person possible.
Yeah. And there was this whole part about all the characters trying to figure out women because they're so difficult to figure out.
Oh, relatable. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to mention some other funny things in the script because there's a lot. I only highlighted a few that I could just rattle off really quickly here. But I want to read this message on the first page for everybody because it's kind of interesting.
Hit me with it.
Yes.
And I've never seen a lengthy message like this before in a script. Usually you'll see like a line from a poem or like a passage from like the Bible or something, that relates to the story or something.
So this is like a message to the reader before you read.
Exactly. Okay. And this is how it starts.
It's like a disclaimer. It's like,
hey. So it's The Room by Tommy Wiseau. Before the story starts, here we go. This play can be played without any age restriction. It will work if the chemistry between all the characters makes sense. Human behavior and betrayal applies to all of us. It exists within ourselves. You love somebody? Do you? What is love? You think you have everything, but you don't have anything. You have to have hope and spirit. Be an optimist. But can you handle all of your human behavior or others' behavior? You don't want to be good, but great. The Room. Tommy Wiseau.
That sounds like it was written by Baby Yoda. Like, just an alien, man.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to be very moving with some sort of message he was trying to give to the reader. I understand that, but
with it.
What was in there? What is love? Who do you love?
Yeah, do you know? Do you? Yeah. So that's how it starts out.
Is that like a monologue? Like, what is that?
It's just some like prologue rather.
It was.
It's just some message. I don't know. It's just some message that he put in there.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
I'm crying.
All right, we already talked about the sex scene line, so we can move on from that. There's a part in the script where Denny, his name is Billy in the screenplay. He's described as dribbling a football at one point.
He's dribbling a football.
Yes,
Again,
dribbling
this
football.
guy just does not understand like American culture fully.
And then there's a lot of cliche sayings like "See you later, alligator." It takes two to tango. Chocolate is a symbol of love.
Yeah, what was that?
And,
what was that about? I've never heard that
know.
before, and it gets said like 5 times.
And then there's just like other stuff like people calling each other's chicken, clucking, and whatnot. Like these very like cliche, typical things you've seen before already. But
Yes.
This is Tommy coming in. He doesn't understand the English language.
Yeah, and
he's trying to.
He didn't even understand how to cluck like a chicken. Like whatever noise he was making, that was not a chicken.
Yeah, so he added those things in there to try to be relatable, or but it's just like, dude, people have seen these before. But I mean, we could keep going. There's just so much to talk about here, and there's just no point to really. We've talked about the main points here about who is Tommy Wiseau and the trivia.
What has he
I think
done?
that was the most interesting part about this episode. I think is just digging into him.
Yeah,
He left it. He made his footprint on the decade.
He's
this like upcoming one as well.
he's an enigma. Like honestly,
He is an enigma. That's a very appropriate word to use for him. I agree, absolutely. Do we got anything else we want to talk about here, or do we want to move on to the final segment, guys?
I'm good.
Close out. Yeah.
I'm trying to think right now, like of any just random things I read about this guy that are worth mentioning. But I think we covered all our bases.
I mean, I think before I get into my final thought, I think I need to watch The Disaster Artist now.
I agree.
Absolutely.
With all of this knowledge that we have about this guy, we need to watch
There'd be
that.
more that would make sense.
James, I remember seeing the previews, and like James Franco looks pretty similar to this guy. In
Yes,
real life,
he does.
Honestly,
Yeah.
they kind of have the same like face structure.
And with the preview,
Yes.
yeah, he does a good like voice impersonation too.
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch it. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, Seth Rogen.
It's
James
supposed to be pretty
Franco,
good, too,
It's
you know,
supposed to be
so.
funny, and now that we know so much about this,
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll really like it.
So who wants to start us off here with the final thoughts, guys?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, worst movie ever. It holds that name, but as like a watching, it's very entertaining. Depending on who you're with and what you're doing, like of course, go in and expect to watch the most awkward film of all time. Basically, is at least what I think.
Yeah.
It,
And don't watch it by
least-
yourself. Watch it with people. Watch it with your friends.
Agree. Maybe have a couple adult beverages,
Yes,
but be responsible.
it would be fun. But I mean, I'm going with 1 out of 5. I'm going to lowball this one. Maybe even give it like a 0 because it was just one of those that you wanted over with.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I think watching it, I said to you guys like 5 times, like, when is this gonna be over? It was so frustrating, but at the same time, like hilarious. Like I laughed out loud, hysterically a few times. So
Yeah.
there are just so many quotable moments. I hope everyone enjoyed the sound montage because I've listened to it like 10 times. It's like this guy, he's an enigma.
It's classic.
Like, he's an international man of mystery. Like I love learning more about him, but at the same time, I don't want to know more about him because I just want to like make up my own version of who he is. Like I honestly think he's an alien. Like he's not human.
We're just going to leave it at that.
This movie's a trip. Honestly, it's like nothing
Yeah.
you've ever seen because it's so bad. It's good, and it's 1 star. It's a 1-star movie. It's god awful, but it's hilarious. And yeah, like we just said, I think people should watch it with their friends. Yeah, get some drink on. Maybe make a game out of it. And
Yeah, totally.
when it's over, you'll be glad you watched.
Every time we do one of these episodes, I try to like take something away from the script, movie, whatever, something I learned from it.
Right.
And I've been trying to think about that with this one, and I just don't. There's nothing to learn from this. And what I mean by that is because I think I've come to the conclusion that you can really only learn from something that's good or at least decent.
Correct.
Because you can sit there and look at something that's bad and just go, okay, that's bad. Like, don't do that. But it doesn't really teach you anything that you can use for the craft, really. Like any sort of writing technique or anything like that. Like, there's just nothing here to take away from it because the dialogue is not good. The characters are terrible. Like, pretty much everything is bad here. But, I mean, I think the only thing I could learn from this is just Tommy Wiseau's determination.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
To produce
grind,
and
the effort,
just
yeah,
finish,
that's true.
just to make something. That's it. Because I mean, if he can do it, anybody else can.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, you just have to have $6 million in the bank.
I mean, the money helped him a lot. Yeah, that did. Yeah, that's true.
His ever-growing budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, you can call Tommy whatever you want, but he's a go-getter.
Yeah,
Definitely.
He made a movie, and it's a cult classic. So again, like, he succeeded. His plan was to become a star. He's a star.
Yeah, he's the only star in the room.
Yeah, no one else really did much. None of the other actors.
Nah, none of them.
And they probably thought this was going to be like their big, their big jump.
Maybe
Their big break.
I'm curious to know what those people were thinking when they read that script, because I feel like you can read a script and you could be like, wow, this is great. I love this story. I really feel the characters here, and I can't imagine that with this. I can't. I just don't see it.
I think they were all there just because they were getting paid.
Maybe.
He had 5 assistants.
Oh my God.
He had 5 assistants for this movie, and many of the actors had assistants as well. So he had like assistants with assistants.
All right, I think we should close the door on the room here.
Please.
No matter what platform you're using to listen to us, I want it to be known that we're available on iTunes, YouTube, and Spreaker. You can also find us on Instagram at screenplay_junkie. If you like our content, please be sure to follow our channels so you can stay in the loop with new episodes and quick movie reviews. Feel free to give us a rating or drop us a comment on any of these mediums. Any feedback or interaction is greatly appreciated. Got any scripts you think we should read or movies we should review? Shoot us a message on our Instagram or email us at screenplayjunkie.show@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about the 2001 animated adventure comedy that stars Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz, Shrek. Thank you for listening. We hope you can join us next time.